Okay, the first pack we're going to start off with is the XL 520. I'm sorry for sort of the distance shot, but it's tall. I'll have to put it on the floor at some point to look at things. This bag is the biggest bag, holds 1,520 standard infantry models. If you have, I guess if you have a giant IG army, you might get that, but costs $160 empty on their website. Now there is a difference now. I have the old version. Now the green comes in this molly pattern and it's got the straps all around it. I don't think it really changes a whole lot. But look, the new ones don't look exactly like this if you go to their site, www.battlefoam.com. But anyway, $160 empty. You can get it full of custom foam for $300. Or if you just get their standard pluck foam, which is in a variety of sizes, it's $210. The trays run anywhere from $17 to $30, depending on whether you get a small pluck foam versus a big custom. And they have that custom tray creator. You go on there, you design your trays, you submit it. It takes a couple weeks, maybe more, depending on the time of year, cost gets up there a little bit, $27 maybe, but you can get a tray with exactly what you want for your models. Overall dimensions of this thing, 17 wide by 15 deep by 25 inches high, but that only gets you 22 inches of foam. However, remember these trays are 15.5 by 12, so that 22 inches is a lot bigger than, say, the Battalion's 20 inches. That gives you inside about a little over 5,600 cubic inches, so 0.028 cents per cubic inch. That's pretty good. That's a lot of tall models you could get in here, and that's what I generally have reserved this for, is for my big vehicles, and then I have all my smaller stuff in a different bag usually when I go this route. Look, if you just did 1,520 infantry models, that takes you to 10 cents per model. 10.5 cents per model. That's a whole lot cheaper than the other bags, but when you add in the foam, you can get 72 infantry models on one of these pieces of foam versus 36 in the others. So the foam may actually end up being a wash when you actually look at the increased size. I have not gone through and done the calculations on that since I first purchased these, but I found that even when I calculated in the foam, this was the cheapest way to go. But for continuity of comparisons, I'm looking at the cubic inches, and the cubic inches, it's clearly a much cheaper route, and that is just not a much cheaper, it's about the same or a little cheaper from a cubic inch standpoint, much cheaper by a total models endpoint. So let me start off with, it's got a large tray. This one, you can take everything you need. This pocket will hold a couple codexes and a rule book and all your papers. I've had stacks of stuff in here. Side pockets, these are really designed for their display board, but what I've found is I can put tons and tons of dice, templates, all my little extra stuff, measuring tapes, and there's one of these on each side, and then on the back here, these are really designed for the legs for their display table. Has a telescoping handle just like the other. You can pull it, roll it. I am a little disappointed in their handle, to be honest. It is not as good as the Sabal handle, I'll be honest. It has this up here, I just couldn't reach it. But this is what I found is, right here I have some trouble occasionally getting it to pull all the way out. Wheels, has sturdier wheels than the Sabal, and it's got a sturdier frame around it than the Sabal, and I think overall it's got the, I don't know if it's wood or plastic or what it has inside, but it is very rigid. They've dropped, fallen, and these are nice big pockets. You can get an Apocalypse templates in here, so that looks pretty good. This one I really like. It's got an open door. It doesn't open, the top doesn't open up, but it does have a door. Then you just can pull your trays out, and these are just pluck foam trays that I used. Here's an example of a tray I designed, got on their thing. I put in room for 3 Ravagers, 3 Venoms, and then with extra space you can just put in places so you can, you know, store all your little extra things. You can set that up however you want. Again, jet bikes, some Talos, some more Venoms. And this was a standard tray. Now here's one thing that I will tell you about their trays is if you get their standard tray sizes, they give you a lot of top room, so they give you the option of decreasing the size. So measure your models pretty good, decide, you know, these I keep on their stands. I tend to magnetize my models so I can get them into shorter pieces of foam. But in general, these work pretty well. And they have, based on whatever the newest models are, you just go on there, you pick the model you want, and they'll cut it up for you. And then this is their standard, you know, razor wing model. So a lot of room in here. It's good for big, tall things, and you can get pluck foam any size up to 6 inches high for their foam. But like I said, just measure your models up so you don't waste inches of space here. So in general, that is this one. This is generally, you would use this as your base. Let me just give you one other tip while I'm thinking about it. I talked about, you know, not going too high. Don't go too short as well, because one thing that you'll find is, you know, I play Dark Eldar, so I have lots of spiky bits. I went with some shorter foam to start with, you know, 1 inch, because I could lay them flat. And then what happens is things end up, this was not cut for these, they're just stuck in there for right now. But you can pluck them out so that you have things that exactly fit the shape of your models. But if you go too short, they pop up, your spiky bits hit, and you can break things off. Particularly when you're putting your last pieces in. So I actually like to not go all the way tight to the top, so I have a little room. But just, I know anybody who plays with foam knows that. So this is designed to be the bottom. You have your zipper here, and the thought being, I'm just going to use this one. You can take this one. You just zip them together, and then it's much more sturdy when you walk around. And you can get multiples. This is their Pack Plus. You could get 4 or 5 of these and stack them up if you wanted. Or you can just get a whole bunch of these, don't need a bottom one. It's whatever you need. It gives you a little more flexibility. I like the modular nature of their bags. That's another plus. Well, that's really it for this one. Looking at cost, one other quick difference between this and the Battalion. I like the Battalion. I'm not trashing the Sabal bags. They're very good. This has legs in the front, if you can see down here. So it stands up straight and doesn't tip over. It doesn't tip over like other bags. So that is basically it for this bag. Just a quick look through of the PACK 1520. I highly recommend it. I would give it a 5 for capacity, a 4 for transportability, and a 4 for everything else. I think you could almost get to a 5 for cost for this one, but because it's such high initial outlay, I'd leave it at a 4. And the custom foam trays can get pricey. You can get exactly what you want, but you're going to pay a premium for it. But overall, good bag, very sturdy, and it's a good modular system. So a little bit of a mea culpa here. I talked about earlier, you couldn't see it, but how it sticks, and after 2 years, my handle has finally, this is the same place it's sticking. This telescoping piece here has decided to no longer come out at all. I've sent a note off to Battlefoam. We'll see. I don't know if this is a recurrent problem they have or if it's just mine. It's always stuck a little bit, which has been my one complaint, but now it is completely dead. Or it feels like the peg, you can see this peg? This one has a peg as well. I think this version of the peg on this side feels like it is underneath this piece and won't come out. So you can see here's the telescope in here. Here's how it's supposed to look with a peg. This peg is for the middle piece that comes here, but this piece is not telescoping up. I think it's because that is underneath this. So anyway, there's my one gripe on this. It's always stuck a lot, and now it seems to be stuck for good. I don't know if there's a solution. I don't want to pull it all apart. So I just sent them off a note and see if this is a recurrent problem or not. Alright, so figured, you know, truth in lending, that is been my big issue. I brought it up in the review, and now you can see how it is in practice.